Came kind of close to flipping trying to make that corner, but we made her. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's July and Jess and I are out again for a few nights on the St. Croix River. For those who don't know, this is a protected and maintained wilderness area, sort of like Algonquin Park in Ontario, but on a much smaller scale. It includes the St. Croix River, Palfrey Lake, and Spednick Lake. It's an area where you can paddle, fish, and camp. There's a bunch of campsites all around that you can paddle into and stay at that are all maintained by the St. Croix Waterway Commission. We got a late start today. I had to work this morning. We're here at the site called the Gravel Pit. We've been here for a few hours now. We got camp set up and had supper. It rained really hard yesterday and last night, so the spring across the river behind me is really flowing right now. So we paddled over and checked that out a little earlier. And Jess went for a little run along the ATV trail that's just over through the woods over there. We're pretty much settled in for the evening now. We're just gonna get a campfire going, then probably call it an early night so we can get a start on the water again early tomorrow. These are so cool. So we had good intentions of getting up and hitting the water early this morning, but it's been a rough couple weeks for the both of us. We've been pretty busy with a lot of stuff. So we took the opportunity to sleep in out here in the peace and quiet. It's about 11 o'clock, I think, now. We've had breakfast, we've got camp all broke down and packed back into the boats. We're getting ready to hit the water again here in a few minutes. It's almost 2 o'clock now on day 2. It's overcast but warm today. With the humidity, it's about 31 degrees. We shot a couple sets of rapids. We're in the longest stretch of deadwater on our trip now. We're about halfway through it, so we're just relaxing in the boats, floating along for a little bit before we kick back in and start covering some more distance. We finally made it to the end of that deadwater. We're just pulling into the campsite now called American Cove. Gonna stop for a little lunch break, having some chicken wraps with some bacon. The site is very shady, which is very welcome right now. And that is some hearty bacon. Okay, we get some lunch into us and some fresh sunscreen reapplied. We're all recharged and ready to hit some moving water again. I had a feeling there was a rock there. Babe. It's nightfall now on day 2. We're camped at the bottom of Little Falls now. We had stopped at Halls Brook earlier, which is the site just before this. We were debating whether we wanted to stay the night there or push on a little further for the day. We haven't seen hardly anybody while we've been out here. 6 people altogether, actually, including the 2 people that went paddling by while we were at Halls Brook, so I said hi to them like I usually do when I see people. We struck up a conversation. They had come down from Quispamsis, I believe, and they really had their heart set on staying a couple nights at Halls Brook. Apparently they've come down through this river every year for like 30 plus years, so that's really awesome. So we did the nice thing and let them have that site, and we pushed on. We did Little Falls earlier. We've got camp all set up now. We got cleaned up. We're going to get some supper on. Hopefully tomorrow we can actually get up early, push on to our next site at Duck Point. So here's our supper for night 2, some turkey meatballs with white rice and canned yellow beans. We made and froze the meatballs at home. This is a really hearty meal. It took literally 5 minutes to prepare. We got up at 20 to 6 this morning to watch the sunrise. Then we did go back to bed for a little bit though. We did get an earlier start this morning though. We got up and broke down camp, had some breakfast. We had some hard-boiled eggs with oatmeal and some fresh picked blueberries. Everything's back in the boat now, and we're getting ready to head down to our next site. It was an overcast morning this morning. It was actually pretty cool. But the sky's clearing off now, and it's starting to warm up pretty quick. This is always a tough corner to make in this canoe. We made it to our third campsite, Duck Point. I mentioned when I was here a couple weeks ago, this is a spot that Jess and I spend a lot of time at, so it's nice to have her here with me. But there is an angry rant coming. I know you guys have heard me complain about this before, but as long as I keep finding it, I'm going to keep complaining about it. Once again, there's garbage left around, and the fire pit has been all knocked apart, and there's half burned wood laying in it. And as I look closely, a lot of it is the wood that Adam and Everett and I used to build the bushcraft shelf. That was a perfectly good shelf. There was no reason to burn that. There's lots of wood around. You're literally in the woods. Even if you don't have a saw, there's deadfall everywhere. Also, I don't know if people need to go back to elementary school or what, but aluminum does not burn in campfires, people. So while she's digging around in the fire pit, Jess just found some broken glass bottles too, which also don't burn. That's like so rude of people to do that. You're risking somebody else cutting their hand and it getting infected out here in the woods, picking up your mess, which is not cool. I've mentioned before that the Waterway Commission comes down through here and cleans up the site. What I mean is they clean up fallen trees and they shovel all the extra ash out of the fire pits and stuff. They don't necessarily come down to clean up other people's garbage. So if there's anyone out there who's watching who thinks that's what the Waterway Commission's job is, no. It's your job to take all this stuff out with you. The fire pit has been cleaned and rebuilt again. We even had to ditch a few of the rocks because they had melted plastic on them. Here's everything we pulled out of the fire pit. As you can see, we even found some silverware in there. So to the people who left this behind, you can all go fork yourselves. It's about 5 o'clock on day 3 now. We saw a big group go by earlier. 3 of the guys in canoes were poling, so that was pretty cool. I don't really drink anymore, but since we live in Canada and we can enjoy cannabis legally, I do like to have one of these once in a while. It's a Ginger Street and Baker. It's pretty sweet, but it contains the equivalent of 5 grams of dried cannabis, so you really only need to drink one. It definitely hits you. For supper tonight, it's dehydrated pulled pork with red and green peppers and black beans. If you guys saw the video of my homemade dehydrating stuff, you saw me talk about making this. I'll show you what it looks like when it's rehydrated.
So we let this sit for about 20 minutes. We drained the excess water out. Now it's ready to eat. Oh, that smells good. It's gonna get messy if I put too much on there.
These are the dehydrated breakfasts that I made at home. They have scrambled eggs, sausage, shredded hash browns, mushrooms, and red and green peppers. And this is what they look like rehydrated. We're just staying put at this site again today. It's supposed to be another hot one. So we've got our wood all sawed up and ready to go for tonight's fire before the heat really sets in. What you up to, honey?
Sending my sister a message on the satellite phone. Checking in, letting her know that we're okay.
Sunset on day 4 now. We just stayed put at the site here today. We didn't do a whole lot. It was our rest day. We went for a little walk just before sunset. We just had some supper. We rehydrated some spaghetti sauce. Got the site cleaned up a little bit. Now we're getting ready to have a fire. The morning of day 5 now. It's breezy and overcast, and there is rain forecast for later this afternoon. We've got everything packed up and in the boats. We're going to head down to the next campsite before our takeout. When the wind hits here, it gets pretty breezy at this point. It'll be a little more comfortable down there. We'll hang out down there for a couple more hours before we head home. It's almost 1 o'clock now on day 5. We stopped at Tyler Rips to have our last little break. You can see the rain is starting to come around the corner there behind us now, so we're going to paddle the last 20 minutes out to the Jeep. It was a great trip. Thanks everyone for watching as always. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like this video, share it, and I'll see you next time.